G'day reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. You're watching Gallery Aquatica TV. Today we've got a reef which has completely outgrown its tank. So we have a bigger tank to install and we're going to run you through the process of this delicate operation. So this is our existing tank, and let's just have a look at how the corals have outgrown the space that they've got. We have a Montipora, and it's grown right into the glass. It's completely run out of space. It's been stung by the anemones above it, and it's really started to go downhill. Our Dunkanops Samia has grown out of the space. It's almost touching the front glass. And this big Montipora at the top has also grown into every single coral around it. There's just no space left for these corals. Let's have a look underneath the tank, because the tank that we're going to install in this place is a little bit interesting and a much more sophisticated filtration system. So this is the other motivation for changing this system over. This is the original sump that comes with the tank, and it has been modified to create a refugium. However, you can see that this refugium is quite stagnant. Incredibly, the keto is growing fairly well underneath, and that's in large part due to the fact that we've got a good refugium light in the prime, but it's stagnant and not doing very well. The skimmer is another big issue with this system. This is the original skimmer that comes with the tank, and you can see there's an incredible amount of salt creep on the side of the skimmer. It hasn't been sealing, and yes, you can replace the seals, but this has been a problem for a long time, and the skimmer that we're going to replace this one with is going to be far superior. So this is what we're working with. Let's go have a look at the tank that we're going to install in this place, and then we'll show you how we're going to go through the whole process. So we have an Aquareef 400. So this is 100 litres bigger than the previous tank. And as you can see, we have a very special Himalayan acrylic sump. We'll have a closer look at this in a minute. First of all, we're going to get the cabinet inside and then the new tank. Luckily these cabinets are relatively light, as is the Himalayan sump, so this is the easy part. So we're going to go past the tank and then put it down on the ground. That looks good. So now we're going to go get the tank, which is going to be the heavy part, and it's going to go straight onto the cabinet. So it's always important to talk through any lift with the tank. You want to make sure that everyone who's involved in the lifting knows exactly what they're going to do. So Ben, what we'll do is you grab this one, we'll pull it out a little bit, and we'll pull it all the way to here. You'll jump on that side, I'll jump on this side, and are you right to go up backwards?
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll take this off as well. So we'll be carrying just the tank. Alright, so we'll drag it forward, stopping at the edge. You've got this side. Yep. Okay. You ready? Yep. All right, good work.
Okay, ready? Come back a bit.
You can see the way Ben caught it with his thighs. And when you know what you're doing carrying your tank, you're always prepared for someone to slip or to trip. Alright, we'll put it down there, and now we'll straighten it up. So now that we have the tank inside, I'll just talk you through exactly what we're going to do with this move. So we're going to take out as much as possible from the existing tank. So of course the water, a lot of the coral and rock, and probably, hopefully, the fish. And we're going to put all of that into this 300 litre tub that we have ready to go. We're going to aerate the tub to ensure that the fish don't suffer from a lack of oxygen. And once we've emptied the majority of this tank out, we're going to move the tank out of this position and move this one into position. And as soon as this tank is in position, we're going to put it all back together, pump the water in, move the fish across, work on the aquascape, and then fill up that last 100 litres. So you might recall in a previous video that we did called Sump Swap that we had the same tank as this one and we had the same sump. And in that case, the only thing that we were swapping out was the sump. In this case, it's the whole tank and cabinet as well as the sump, but these acrylic sumps are really special, they're beautiful and they work really well. And most importantly, this is going to allow us for to have a much better protein skimmer and zero salt creep. So I think that everyone knows how much I love Octo, and this is the same skimmer that we use in the Sump Swap. So I know it fits, I know it's a really easy to tune skimmer, it's going to be perfect. So we'll put it in its position and then we'll look at the plumbing for the tank and just make sure that everything is ready to go with this tank before we move it across. So here we go, such a beautiful skimmer, and you'll notice that we've had our custom sump designed with the same colour scheme as the Octo skimmer, so it looks really good. So I take the cup off whilst I'm positioning it in the tank, the sump. And something that we learned from the last skimmer that we installed in one of these sumps was that we'll need to raise it about 10 to 15 centimeters above the bottom of the sump. So we'll get something before we turn it on so that it props up to around about here. And that'll also mean that our skimmer cup will sit above the top of the sump. So we're just getting the plumbing out for this tank. So these Aqua Reef 400s come with our drainage line, and our return line. So we're going to use the standard stuff that comes with them for our plumbing. So this is going to sit underneath the tank and feed into our bulkhead over here, like so. That's beautiful. And then the water is going to go from the sump through the return pump back up into the tank. So we're about to put the plumbing into this system, and something that you always want to remember is to ensure that you have your little royal rubber grommet in position on either side of the glass. This is what's going to seal the plumbing, and if you forget to put this on, you'll almost certainly have a leak. So put that in place. So Ben, I'm now about to tighten the plumbing for the return. Is it aimed in the correct position? Yep. Forwards?
I'm using my finger to keep it straight.
Yep. Alright. Done?
Yep.
So now the drain. Again, our rubber grommet. Okay, you've got that, Ben?
Yep.
Just threading it on. So I like to screw these on so that they're very tight, but you also need to ensure you don't go too far so finger tight. All right, that's about it. And now, finish off our drainage line. The drainage line is what's going to dictate the position of the sump in the cabinet, ensuring that it goes down like so, but that's perfect, that won't leak. We just need to put the filter socks in and we need to finish off the return plumbing, so it's all going well. So these parts, which I've glued earlier, are bulkheads that are going to attach to the return pump and the return line. So this will sit in here. We'll thread in our little hose tail. We'll thread in our hose tail like so, and we'll bridge between these two with a short piece of 19mm hose. The second one will be the chiller feed. So just before I finish off our return plumbing, I just have to thread in our hose tails. We're going to get the original tank draining. So first of all, we'll turn off all of the equipment. We have 2 people, so we're going to have one person. Ben's going to be draining this and moving the stuff across whilst I finish off the tank. But I'll turn off all of the pumps. Oh, so quiet. So we'll turn off all of the pumps, we'll leave the lights on, and we'll get this draining. So now Ben can start to move everything across. We're so close to the point that we move our new tank into the position. Ben's just removing the last of the coral and fish, and then there's a blue tank just having a bit of a panic attack at the lowering water level. So we'll catch these fish out soon. We'll put them in the tub, and then it's going to be go time. We move that tank out of the way, we put the new tank in position, and then we fill it back up again. So it's almost time. So I'm going to get as much water as possible out of the sump. Ben, I'll give you these supplements. Every bit of weight that we can get out of this cabinet, it will make it easier. So this is one of the big reasons why we're doing this. Check out this protein skimmer. This salt creep is unbelievable. So this skimmer has seen better days. We'll definitely be chucking this out. So this is what it looks like behind a tank that's been in the same position for 5 years. Lots of dust, salt creep, Nerf gun darts. Anyway, so we're going to take the power cords out and we'll continue moving this tank all the way against the wall over here so we can move this one in. So Ben, can you please move some of this stuff? I'll do behind the tank. Those dosing vessels can go under the new tank. Well, actually no, on the... So we've decided we're going to move everything in one go, just so that it's on the other side of the walkway, so we can get our new tank in place. All right, Ben, you're in there. We'll just take as much weight off as possible. We're just going in that direction, just a short distance. I'm going to do this. All right. You ready? So we've just finished putting some of the coral sand into the new tank, and we're right about to start pumping the water across. So we've just got a little 2,000 litre an hour octo, and it's going to feed into here. We've got a candy cane so it doesn't come off. And Ben's just getting the extension cord so we can power up the octo and start to fill. But whilst he's doing that, I'm going to set up some other things. So this is going to be our new dosing vessel rack. So something else that we're going to be improving is we're going to have new dosing vessels, which will mean we can very easily see how much solution is in each of the vessels. And as with a lot of the acrylic stuff that we sell, this is going to light up all different colors and look really fancy. So there's 3 2.5 litre vessels. They can sit in like so. Alright, so we'll put these in place. We're going to have a lot of cable management to do with this tank. The power board's going to go somewhere. This will just sit just there. So very easy to see, and once they're lit up, the whole thing is going to look so cool. So this could be the hardest part of the whole job. We've got a massive colony of Dallas acropora which has fused together with a big Montipora. Now, we're not sure what parts of this we're going to keep and what we're going to throw out. So for now, we're going to put everything into the new tank, and hopefully we'll keep it together in one piece. So it's a 2-person job. It's also important that we don't drop it on the tank as we're trying to position it in, because that would be a disaster. So we transferred all of the water from the old tank into the new tank, and we're just filling up the balance with water from the ute out the front. So this is the speed it's going in at. So it's only going to take a couple of minutes and it'll be full. Then we'll turn the return pump on, the lights on, and we'll see how it's looking. The water is, the tank is full and the water is going down the overflow, but this is the critical time to check that we don't have any leaks and that all the plumbing is working as we need it to work. So the water is feeding down into our our drainage chamber. It's going to go through the filter socks at the front. Oh, here it goes. And it's going to start to fill the section with the skimmer. Now, whenever a skimmer like this is in water that's going up, you'll find that, or sometimes it'll happen that the skimmer will float. So you've got to be ready to turn it on, which will then draw water into the body of the skimmer and stop it from floating up. Now we'll turn on our return pump. So now that we've got our return running on our new tank, we have to take away the old tank. And we've just taken off the return line plumbing. We're about to do the drain. I've been fighting with a whole heap of cables. Some of the pumps and pieces of equipment in here we have to use on the new tank. So this will all have to come out and be sorted. But we'll get this tank out onto the ute because we have to take this away back to the shop to clean it up to sell it as a second-hand tank. So we're almost finished stage 1 of our switch over with the tanks. And let's just have a look at what we've done. We have our new tank in place and we've pretty much just thrown all the corals and fish back into the tank just so that they're going to be at least healthy and survive the transition. The water will clear up, of course. We haven't connected our wave makers yet, and the most important thing that we are yet to do is connect the chiller. So we'll probably do that in the next couple of minutes. But we're pretty much finished. Let's have a look at the sump underneath, because this is the really special part of the system. So we've got the beautifully plumbed return and drain line that feeds straight into this side. And in fact, I've just changed the color. And one of the beautiful things about this is that you can actually change the color, there we go, of the lights on the sump. So you can see that our skimmer is over skimming. We're going to raise that up. The filter socks are doing what they're supposed to do and they're clearing the water, but each of the sections has got an acrylic cover. So this tank is going to have zero salt creep. It'll always be dry and clean. It's going to be beautiful. So after the water flows through the protein skimmer section, it goes through a biomedia section at the back that we'll put some of the biological media from the previous sump into. Then into the return pump section. You can see we've got the transformers for the lights just sitting here for now, but a very neat line back into the tank. Something that we haven't spoken about, one of the beautiful things about this sump is that this front right section is an automatic top-up RO reservoir. So we're going to have an automatic pump that will push water across into the sump as the level drops through evaporation. And as we've seen, we've got our beautiful Homali dosing vessels, and so this is really the end of stage 1. So stage 2. Stage 2 is going to be the aquascape. And so we'll put all the corals back in position so that they've got a beautiful aquascape and all the corals are in positions where they can grow and benefit from the larger amount of space. But stage 3 is going to be the tricky part. Stage 3, we're going to mount a board in the back section of this cabinet. The plan is to make it a white board, and we're going to put all of the transformers and the dosing pump and all the cables will be tidied up with this board on the back. It's going to be beautiful. So that's it for today's episode of Gallery Aquatica TV. It'll be exciting to bring you more episodes of this transition. So thank you so much for watching and happy reefing. So that's our video for today. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe as well. We'll be putting out videos every week showing a new tank with new products. There's going to be lots in all the videos. I'm Cam the Fish Guy, and keep on reefing.